Thank you, Presiding Officer. Given that sexual harassment and violence against women are both a cause and a consequence of wider women's inequality, would the corporate body agree that we have to tackle the wider issues, including representation?
Wrong. Sexual harassment and violence against women do not cause inequality between men and women. And what you mean by inequality, I suspect, is what I would call differences between men and women. Inequality does not cause sexual harassment and violence against women. Women earn a bit less on average than men. But does that result in men getting home from the football drunk and hitting their partner? Of course it doesn't. Before we know it, she's on to the wider issues, representation. So in other words, the existence of sexual harassment as a reason why more women need to be in top jobs. And this MSP started by saying, given that. In other words, this is what we take for granted. It needed an MSP to stand up at that point and to nip it in the bud and say, actually, this is not true. But instead, the whole debate heads off in the wrong direction. And as you know, the further you go in the wrong direction, the further off track you'll get, as we're going to see.
Ask the Scottish Parliamentary Corporate Body, in light of recent reports regarding sexual harassment, how it intends to influence the gender composition of the corporate body and the Parliamentary Bureau.
Kezia Dugdale takes up the cause now. She's obviously scoured the Scottish Parliament to find examples of gender imbalance. She's tried the parties, not much luck there with all the female leaders. She's looked through the many committees, the various groups in the Parliament, and imagine her joy when she came across the corporate body and found it was comprised of 5 men. Now, the corporate body is a group in the Scottish Parliament that deals with practicalities and managing the organisation of the Parliament. It's a backroom, non-political function. And each party nominates an MSP to be part of the corporate body. And it so happens at the moment that the 5 nominees are male. Now, just to clarify, no member of the corporate body has been accused of sexual harassment or anything remotely like it. So, Kezia Dugdale is saying to these 5 men, you're all men, so what are you going to do about it? Now, surely these 5 men are going to stand up and tell her how completely ridiculous she's being.
Why the presiding officer is writing today to all party leaders, asking them to sit down with him collectively and look at how we can address this issue quickly and achieve change.
Well, Kezia's got them on the run here. No resistance at all, so she's going to press home her advantage.
And the gender balance of committees, of shadow cabinets and backroom teams is equally important, but this is an opportunity to talk about the composition of the Parliament's governing body. For women to have access to power and decision making, it does sometimes require men to give that power away. And it's on that basis that I invite members of the corporate body to resign their roles so that we can achieve gender balance in this place before demanding it from the world beyond it.
How can anyone keep a straight face while they stand in the Scottish Parliament talking about women having access to power and decision making? In the Scottish Parliament, women are in the positions of power in the Scottish Parliament, but the MSPs sit there po-faced, taking it all in. Then Kezia Dugdale suggests to these men that they should resign. Let's just get this absolutely clear. She's saying to those 5 men, you should resign because you're men. Now, surely now, the spokesman for the corporate body is going to stand up to this bullying and tell her what he thinks.
I'm sure my colleagues agree with the sentiment behind that question. It's understand that Gordon MacDonald, MSP, has resigned from the corporate body earlier today for health reasons.
So the men on the corporate body meekly take it. One resigns for health reasons by remarkable coincidence on exactly the day that Kezia Dugdale called for him to resign, and another one has offered to resign since. What we're going to see next is one of the MSPs on the corporate body saying that he enjoyed the role, and one of the other MSPs, a lady, tries to make a barbed comment saying that, well, none of the women would know because we've never been on the corporate body. But then it's pointed out to her that there actually has been a woman on the corporate body. I think in YouTube parlance, this is what's known as a fail.
Actually quite enjoyable some of the time.
Whiteman says it's an enjoyable task. I can comment for the female members that are here. None of us would know. What is the Scottish Parliament, except Linda Fabiani perhaps?
So we see here the vision of the Scottish Parliament of the way the world should work. And that's going to have consequences for your career. If, for example, you're a man and you apply for a job, then it could well be that that employer will be thinking, right, we need to achieve a gender balance. We don't want a man this time. We need a woman. So when we put those statistics into the government, we can show them that we're doing really well. So let's not look at the men so much. We really want to get a woman. Let's put merit aside. When it's time for promotion, you might apply for the job, but there might be a virtual quota. There may be the companies concerned about the pay gap. Again, they have to submit the statistics to the government. They don't want the pay gap growing. They want the pay gap to be reducing. Best promote a woman. What happens in that sort of culture? When a woman is promoted, people will look and think, yeah, you've been promoted, but we can probably guess why that happened. How many men will start thinking, well, what's the point of working really hard for year after year, making a good impression in the hope of promotion, when you're probably not going to make it in any case? It'll probably be a woman that they decide that they need. The situation could be reversed for women in situations where it's majority female. They might be disadvantaged as well. But the breakthrough in this discussion in the Scottish Parliament is not just disadvantaging people at the application stage. It's actually pressurising people to resign from jobs that they've already got. I mean, do they really want to see people demoted to close the pay gap and to achieve gender balance? It seems like they do. But one last hope. Jackson Carslaw, Deputy Leader of the Scottish Conservative Party. Surely he's going to have something to say about this.
You know, the committee that I mentioned, again, I admire your work, but again, it's 5 men and 2 women.
Jackson Carlo.
I understand and sympathise with the sentiments underpinning Monica Lennon's supplementary.
Well, if you enjoyed the video, subscribe on YouTube and like or follow our Facebook page. Thanks.